Going for two, it's your boy here, Dan, at the B-League Says, coming at you for a Thursday night football preview, pick and prop show for Underdog Fantasy. As always, promo code GF2 for a $1,000 matching deposit on your initial outlay, as you should. It's fantastic. But we're going to cover the Commanders at Packers in a quick hitter tonight, nice and easy. We're going to look at some pick and props, nice and easy. Before we get going, very special guest on tonight for the Armchair Show with Ryan and Jeff. Pretty cool announcement coming. I'll let them spoil that for you in a few hours. Aside from that, come over to our free Discord. It's fantastic. Waiver wire pickups, auction bids, auction drafting, dynasty trades, waiver wire pickups, fad allocation, all that sort of stuff. Come over to the Going for Two Discord. It is for free. For free for you, as it should be, because, hey, why not? No F-bombs today. We're going to be really nice today. We're going to keep all that in line. But before we do, let's go through our props as they should fall out. And I've given you a bonus one. Normally I'll pump out three for a few quick ones, but I actually went with three Packers props and I felt really bad about that. So I gave us a bonus one for the Commanders to look at. But pick number one, prop number one, pick and prop number one is going to be Jayden Reed. We're going to go higher than 39.5 receiving yards. Look, not that the Giants are something we should ever base anything on, because let's face it, no one should. But Wan'Dale Robinson, target slot machine. He racked up a pretty easy 8-6, 55-yard day in week one at Washington. And look, he's someone that has zero idea. Look, Wan'Dale Robinson's idea of yak is something between a bison and buffalo. He wouldn't know what yards after catch is for his life. Thank God that Jayden Reed does. He's actually pretty good at it when he gets the opportunity to shine. Look, Reed, I'm not his biggest fan in terms of fantasy football. I actually think he's an expensive Wan'Dale Robinson, because you look at their stats and rack them up, it's pretty much identical, except, Wan'Dale Robinson gets targets. But here we are in that regard. And look, he'll always forever find himself, as long as Matt LaFleur is in Green Bay in a wide receiver by committee. It's been going on like that for the past couple of years. They spread it around way too much. There's absolutely zero joy in that. For example, everyone's golden boy this offseason, Tucker Kraft, finished last week with 4 for 2. And you look at Romeo Doubs, he hung about the same nil, 4 targets as well. If I remember correctly, Reed ran the targets for the Packers last week in week one versus the Lions, as it would have been. He had 5 for 3 or whatever it was. So look, Reed can pick up some cheap wins, and Saintsville in the nickel. What's his name? Amos was the rookie out of Washington. So, if he can pick up on him a little bit, some one-on-ones, I feel like Reed might have an okay day if he can get forward and get moving in that regard. And look, obviously last week he could have had a bigger day if the Lions was something that looked competitive, but that game was over by almost by halftime. The Lions were nowhere to be seen. The Packers were in cruise control, and he didn't have to do too much. But look, Washington a week ago showed that they could put up points in week one, and if they can be competitive with the Packers on Thursday night, we should see more Jordan Reed. Obviously, there's no Christian Watson. It's really, they are a very balanced team, very even team. And if we can get 4 to 5 targets for Reed, he should be getting that 39.5 receiving yards quite comfortably. So I feel like that is a place that we can win. Pick number 2, we're going to go to his quarterback, Jordan Love, which sounds a little weird that we're going to go receiver positive, quarterback negative, but we're going to go Jordan Love lower than 30.5 pass attempts. Look, it's almost like they have Love on a pitch count most weeks. It's very controlled. I said before, it's very stable, very controlled, very symptomatic of what they do. This is what they do. This is how they do it. These are how many reps they pump in. This is where they kind of feel like they are. I can see where Green Bay are going to want to slow this game down, keep Washington off the field, let their defense rest, and stay impactful. And to do that, you got to run the clock. You got to be out there a fair bit. And half the time, that's not really throwing it like we wanted. They're going to run the ball with Josh Jacobs, 20 rush attempts week one. I don't see that slowing down either. And they're going to be efficient. Love can do that. And when he switched on, having one of the best running backs in the game by his side, I think that's going to help him keep this game under control as well as he can. Look, last week, Love, he didn't have to push the envelope against Detroit that much. 22 pass attempts in week one. As the Packers rolled the Lions, which slightly in his career average is 25 pass attempts per game is what it would be, 25, 26 on a good week, 25 on average. So he even went lower against the division rival, which, you wouldn't really think that would happen against the Lions, who have been known to be a high-scoring team and keeping up and whatnot. But it didn't really happen. So, look, you want to have a quick look. You want to roll it back, 2024, after his ankle injury, had a massive 50-pass attempt game in week 4. I think it was against Minnesota. I don't remember if it was at Minnesota or whatever it was. It was against Minnesota. And aside from that, he went above 30 pass attempts only 4 more times all year, which is crazy when you think about it. He went under 27 6 times during that span as well. So he's good, especially on a short week, to go under in these regards. And, Packers, they can beat Washington. They're at home. I feel like if you feel like Washington aren't going to win this game, or if Green Bay are, they're going to have Jordan Love. He's going to be under control, and he's going to go under that pretty easily, I think. Pick number 3, we're going to go an IDP prop because we like some IDP. Shout out to all the IDP players out there. Edgerrin Cooper, we're going to go higher than 9.5 total tackles. That's solo and assists combined. Look, the reality is, for the Packers, that they have a hell of a 1-2 punch at middle linebacker. You're rolling out Quay Walker and Edgerrin Cooper. That's a fantastic duo if they are healthy and on the field at the same time. I know Quay Walker had some problems last year in terms of help and whatnot, and Edgerrin Cooper stepped up a little bit more. So I really like what they've got there. And look, you throw in Micah Parsons on the outside of that, look, there's a huge chance if you see Micah Parsons on the field, you're probably going to run the other way. So, which is what we saw the Lions try to do in week 1. Every time Micah Parsons lined up on the left-hand side of their linebacker duo, that way went the Lions. And, the biggest beneficiary of that happened to be Edgerrin Cooper. A few other guys, Devontae White, he had some good success in there too. And the big boy they have in the middle, his name is stunning. I was forgetting his name and I shouldn't, but it doesn't matter. It's fine. I'm not picking him anyway, so it doesn't matter. Look, here's where things get a little sticky for me. We're talking about Dan Quinn, former Cowboys DC. He knows Parsons well. Probably knows a little bit more how to attack that side where he is playing either way. So taking on a full-time 100% snap role last week was a huge thing for Edgerrin Cooper. And to be against a rather heavy team against Detroit, obviously was beneficial. Now you're adding in Jaden Daniels, Krosky Merritt, Austin Eckler, and you're looking at some Deebo Samuel. I'm going to mention in a second. I like the idea that Washington are, as big as a pass-heavy team as they are, they do like to run the ball a lot. And I feel like that's going to be beneficial for Edgerrin Cooper in week 2 at home on the short week against the Commanders. Now, I said I was going to throw in a bonus play. Deebo Samuel. I like Deebo Samuel for higher than 6.5 rushing yards. Look, let's keep it simple. In his last 4 games, he's had rushing attempts that have gone for 16, 19, 19, and 25 yards. So if he's going to play, he's going to have at least 1 rushing attempt. There's a good chance he's going to knock 6.5 out. That's not his only rush attempt for yards. It's total yards. So, he might have 2-3 attempts and he might go for, 5, 6, 7 yards a pop at that point. I wouldn't be surprised if he did. So I feel like this might be a bit of an easy hero roll of the dice for a Washington prop for this week. Nice and easy. We're going to wrap it up. 4 easy props for us this week for Thursday Night Football. Again, one more time, Washington at Green Bay. Promo code for Underdog Fantasy, GF2 for $1,000 matching deposit on your initial outlay, and come and join the Going for 2 live Discord. It is free and fantastic. You can get all your information and questions over there as you should. We're going to wrap this up nice and easily. Pick number 1, Jaden Reed, higher than 39.5 receiving yards. Pick number 2, Jordan Love, lower than 30.5 pass attempts. Pick number 3, Edgerrin Cooper, higher than 9.5 total tackles. And pick number 4, Deebo Samuel, higher than 6.5 rushing yards for the week. That is it for me. I am Dan. I am at the B League Says. Come find me wherever, or don't. I don't really care. But if you have any more questions on props, you can find me over in our Going for 2 Discord over there. Just tag me in a question and we'll go from there. Have a great week. Cheers and goodbye.